It's 6 o'clock on Friday, the 31st of January, 2020. Good evening and thank you for tuning in to the English edition of Ora News. My name is Christopher, bringing you the only update of the local Albanian news translated into English. Ahead of Albanian politicians, the U.S. ambassador to our country, Yuri Kim, has called for Albania to root out corruption. Albania should eradicate corruption, prosecute organized crime, and firmly establish rule of law. Adoption of justice reform was a major milestone, but much will depend on full and proper implementation, Kim said. During her presentation to Albanian politicians, the U.S. diplomat sought compromise from politics to move from Albania towards European integration. Albania has the opportunity to make stunning transformations in 2020. I urge Albanian leaders, whether you are in the majority or the opposition, in parliament or not, to demonstrate real leadership by making difficult decisions to move the country forward on its European path. This will require compromise, but a temporary sacrifice of personal pride is definitely worth it in the name of the future of the country, Ambassador Kim said. The ambassador congratulated the opposition parties outside the assembly, who said they found a way to move forward with electoral reform, and congratulate those within the assembly who made sure that there was always room for open dialogue at the table. I hope there are many more examples of this kind of collaboration throughout the year, Kim said. The ambassador also presented her 3 priorities. My first priority is to help Albania become a more capable NATO ally and a stronger bastion of security. Albania is working to be a leader in the Balkans in the fight against terrorism and violent extremism. Civilians and religious communities, from local and international law enforcement agencies to schools and teachers, are working together to help Albania eradicate both domestic and international threats. Secondly, we will continue to strongly support Albania's democratic development. Strengthening democratic institutions and practices will fortify Albania's EU bid. We want to see Albania play a stronger role in the European family of democracies. Lastly, we want to increase business opportunities for both U.S. and Albanian companies. There is a lot of untapped potential in Albania to produce, consume, and be innovated. President Ilir Meta calls for the strengthening measures to prevent the penetration of the Wuhan coronavirus in Albania. The strongest possible measures should be taken to prevent the penetration of the virus in our country, especially since 2 cases have been confirmed in neighboring Italy. It is time to take the strongest measures available to us. Any understatement can have critical consequences. The cases in Italy clearly show that we are seriously exposed and must prevent by any means the penetration of this virus to our country. Meta said, "We have every possibility this time if everyone does their job with maximum responsibility." Journalist Uli Rakipi has made a statement to the media outside the courthouse where his trial is being held with Prime Minister Edi Rama, who has accused him of tarnishing his image. On the other hand, Rakipi has filed a counterclaim against the Prime Minister. The reporter said that Prime Minister Rama has intimidated the panel, saying to the Assembly Speaker that he will win all the trials, a statement that is unprecedented. I am with the lawyer in one of the next sessions with Prime Minister Edi Rama. There is a significant new break in the Rama litigation. He had said from the Assembly Speaker that he will win all the trials as if he were the judge himself. He has jurisdiction in vetting, but the Albanian courts are not the only ones to judge. We will go all the way to Strasbourg. I tell the Prime Minister to come to court and come before us, not just to send lawyers. I have 2 processes with the Prime Minister. He accuses me of insulting him after telling all the journalists the Kader boiler, etc. Rakipi said. On the other hand, Rakipi's lawyer, Dorian Matlia, said the Prime Minister's statements put the court under pressure and that the case would go to the Strasbourg court if necessary. The litigation is in the preparatory phase. There were 2 lawsuits made by the Prime Minister, 2 of the many lawsuits the Prime Minister has opened against many people. The statement made by the Prime Minister from the Assembly is inappropriate. The European Court of Human Rights has also pointed out in previous cases. These statements put the court under pressure. This majority has consistently pressured the judiciary. This time we are dealing with a personal agenda of Prime Minister Edi Rama. We are in a state of pressure. We are not dealing with a normal situation. The judges are under the pressure of vetting. Our aim is to resolve the matter before the Court of Strasbourg. Whatever the Prime Minister does, we will do the right thing. This man has come out to challenge the judiciary, said Matlia. Prime Minister Edi Rama has filed about 60 lawsuits in courts for journalists, politicians, and most recently for Kosovo's Prime Minister Ramush Haridinaj. Rama declared from the Assembly Speaker that he would win all the trials, sending the signals to the courts and thus intimidating the panel. The government approved today the anti-KCK package and the special law on property against crime, organized crime. The package enters into force immediately after its adoption as a normative act. Minister of Justice Edlida Jonai, presenting the package, said, "The essential act of the anti-KCK package is a normative act that comes into force immediately and conserves the property of those convicted of organized crime, participation in organized criminal groups, and groups. The adopted decisions bring the changes to the law on anti-mafia, state police, and the administration of seized and confiscated assets in the criminal code. The adoptive normative act will give the police staff the legal means to fight organized crime," the minister said. Part of the anti-KCK package is those who, though accused, were never convicted. The burden of proof rests with them to justify the legality on the property. In a press release, Minister Edlida Jonai said that the transactions that have been passed through the third party will be confiscated by the state. By way of a Twitter status, Eddie Rama has called the visit of U.S. Ambassador Yuri Kim a beautiful coincidence, an hour before the adoption of the anti-KCK package. The municipality of Tirana has not stopped creating tensions and clashes with residents. Following the electricity market protest, the next protest is marked in the Medresea area, where 10 families were asked to leave their living quarters as the facility would collapse. Supported by the municipal forces, there were forces of the Eagle and the police. Family members tried to resist but were unable to cope with the increased number of police. The municipality has not stopped despite a lawsuit on the case. 4 people were escorted after the clashes. There were tears, violence, and clashes in the area, and even one resident lost his temper. One of the residents said he felt powerless in the face of the situation as he described the moment when he confronted law enforcement. Concerned residents say they have been notified of the release on April 23rd, while in the release document, no information is given as to what the building will serve, while residents believe there is a construction plan in place. However, the borough has been justified in restoring Kindergarten 50 and offering the families the opportunity to apply for the rental bonus. There was a gas leak from a tank at Balch Oil Refinery. The alarm was issued by the head of the fire department's technical security department, who said that he had alerted the authorities to the situation as its forces could only monitor the situation. "We have a leak in a sphere of liquefied gas, and we have to guard it as it can explode from moment to moment. If it explodes, what will happen next? This is the second Gurdets. It's a horror. We don't have the means to fight the fire," said Brunilda Yahai, head of technical security employees of the fire department in Balch Electrical Substation, joined this Friday's protest of oil men over back pay for unpaid work as the law holds. There are also 800 oil companies seeking a solution from the state, and says the company needs to give them clarification on the future of the plant. "We are looking for back salaries and what will happen to these people," says one protester. The Balch refinery, operated by a private company, has been closed since September, claiming that Bankers Petroleum does not supply crude oil. And that's the news across the country today. Thank you for watching our English edition this evening, and be sure to join us again every Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of Ora News, thank you and good night.